That sounds amazing.
No,
That's exactly what I was thinking.
I think my partner would kill me because she already says that you're my second wife because we play video games together all the time.
She's not the first one to say that either.
And
just ask Achilles.
yeah, if it happens on Valentine's Day, I might not be returning. Yeah, so anyway, moving on into the draft. As the desk was saying, as the space was saying, a lot of things taken away. And if you're wondering, this is probably the surprise of no one, in terms of diversity of picks, there's been a lot of diversity in the support lane, but I kind of get what Did's point in like the picks that they really want to lean on. You know, the engaged picks start to get thinned out quite quickly. But the pools that have kind of been smaller so far and like more condensed at the top have kind of been like jungle and AD carry, really. And to an extent top lane, but like mid lane there are so many picks that have been played. I think you're never going to struggle for picks in mid. Maybe not the pick you necessarily want, but AD carry and jungle big roles. And already we're seeing in these bans, Xayah banned out, really trying to hamstring already some of those pools. And the question is like, at this point, you know, AD carry is such a small pool already.
Yeah.
It's really a struggle to see what will be taken. I've just noticed Shen has now gotten through. Rumble also gotten through. First pick Rumble from Nongshim, they're more than happy with that. Yeah. And they have the Shen as like a wild card later on.
Yeah, I don't think they're feeling any danger of Ondo picking up the Shen. You know, the Elise was one thing. There's the Galio. The flexibility of it was something that Wadi was talking about, and I think that for sure. You can pick it early, and you can say, well, probably going to UCal, but you never know. Could go into the bottom lane.
Oh man, you could make such a, like, if I think of some of the strongest picks left open, Galio, Wukong are up there. You could combo that with something like Rakan's still available. That is nasty level of engage. And Xayah's gone, right? Ezreal's gone. What is Jiwoo going to play that's going to be able to survive against Wukong, Galio, and Rakan? I think it would die. I think it would definitely die. You know, in theory, could work. Toying with the idea of the Maokai here, something that we have seen played in both support and jungle, a little bit more jungle, but does have that flexibility and has that setup for the Rumble.
They didn't leave Kallisto. You don't have to like randomly blind pick Draven ahead of a Kallisto.
The fact we're seeing an Aphelios hover says a lot about toying with the ideas. I think in terms of how the composition wants to function, I think MF would have worked, but in terms of actually being able to press R, not a chance. They end up going for the Jinx. My question is, what are you going to pair with that to make sure Jinx survives? Because it's going to get target banned in the next stage. Yeah. And also, how much does DRX really want to up the ante in terms of we're killing that Jinx? Because they've already got the Wukong Galio, strong composition. You want to support to pair with that. You could pick it now. Rakan starts to feel a bit bad when you're into the Maokai, but Silas, he's another dive pick. You can steal away the Maokai ult. Yeah. That's tremendous value. You know, we've got into 2 games. I felt like Nongshim had the draft edge. The first game quite largely, the second game not as large, but still I felt like they had the edge. But here, I think DRX are really happy with their picks. The one caveat is, what is Teddy going to play in this situation? But the other caveat is, does it matter?
Yeah. I mean, we saw that the Ashe came out against a comp that theoretically didn't have as much dive as Game 1 comp, right? So you were like, oh, this seems like a decent spot for an Ashe. But this is not one of those, you know, situations for the Jinx, right? She's going to be under a lot of pressure. Except for Teddy, you know, there is actually a decent amount of room. And they're going to take away the MF here.
Yeah, I'm not sure about the Lee Sin ban. I know they want to obviously limit Gideon's power, but there's still a chance for the Maokai to be flexed. They're clearly thinking there's a good chance to go support. But really, I'm thinking of picks like Lulu, Thresh, even the Tahm Kench. I'm thinking like, how can we save this Jinx? And they're like, how can we stop Gideon from taking over the game?
Different perspectives.
Yeah, I mean, they clearly think this is very much a Maokai support. It has, again, it's only been played once in support role, 6 times in the jungle role so far. But we'll see. Definitely with those bans, makes it more likely to be a jungle Maokai. So maybe that's the plan. Hey, let's force him to take it there. Lucian ban coming through. Definitely stretching now in terms of what's being played.
Oh,
they deny the Lulu. And honestly, when everyone's diving in, if you Lulu ult them while they're on top of Jinx, it's not going to be fun.
And this opens up some very interesting thoughts here for Teddy. We could see something like a Kog'Maw, a Twitch, right? Like other hyper carries that could potentially match the Jinx in a late game scenario. You have the Lulu now. You have that power of that very strong Enchanter support.
Yeah, they're looking at picking up a second AD carry. I think it makes sense. Your first one dies, you have a backup. Also good lane into Silas. Here, it's difficult for the Hens. I think you need a defensive pick. I honestly, I feel like even like a Janna would go very hard here. You know the matchups in the Lulu. I think if you just pick something generic like a Rel, you're gonna have a bad time. But it's what Lehens wants to play. Like you definitely see him wanting to leave the charge with an engage pick.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's gonna. You need to save Jiwoo. That is not gonna save Jiwoo. That is not that.
He's gonna hook the Galio into the team. Like,
you know,
Jerry was available. That makes more sense.
Lehens is a phenomenal Blitzcrank. He is really good at that champion. But he has this tendency to pick it when he's just vibing. And I think this is possibly one of the worst Blitzcrank spots I can imagine. And if you don't win it, the thing is as well, it's Blitzcrank with Jinx Maokai. That doesn't sound very scary.
No.
Okay, it doesn't sound intimidating. Here's what's gonna happen. You're gonna hook, I don't know, anyone. Maybe you grab a Wukong clone, maybe you grab the real Wukong, and he's gonna dash to your AD carry and they're gonna kill them.
What about like best case scenario?
Best case scenario,
you
the fight never happens, you get a pick before the fight starts.
Yeah.
Like if Nongshim don't get a lead early...
But that's just like Blitzcrank always, right? That's not even like Blitzcrank specifically here.
But the problem is, if you're setting up for a fight, normally Blitzcrank, you can like grab a target and the fight's favorable for you. But unless Zeri somehow dashes forwards and you grab here, and even then, there's still a chance it goes badly because Galio ults and Lulu ults. Like, if you're set up for an objective and you grab someone, there's a good chance you lose the fight. You know, that's how bad this Blitzcrank pick feels. And we've talked a lot about how we're going to get deeper into Fearless. It's going to be harder and harder. I think Nongshim have made a big fumble here.
Yeah.
I love the composition from the side of DRX. And this has been a hectic game. This is a comp that suits hectic games, hectic series, sorry.
Absolutely. Well, guys, we're ready for game number 3 right now.
You know, something I will mention is you did see this Maokai Blitzcrank combo from Gen G when it was Lehens Canyon.
Yes.
That is the win con.
If you're ahead, sure. Playing a level 1 into Blitzcrank, questionable, but you know, they had the Silas. They thought maybe, okay, we can hop over, catch Gideon, but the chains miss. It's also cool that we're seeing Rich go the Galio top lane. We've seen a lot more of the Galio mid, but when we first saw Galio come back, it was played top lane as a Rumble counter. And you're playing Galio into Rumble Maokai. You're immortal. If it's like, how are Rumble Maokai ever going to kill a Galio once he gets a bit of magic resist? Well, they might not be looking for dives, let's just say that. But later on, at least you've got a couple of 80 carries to chew through. The Galio. But the thing is that later on you've got so many dive champions and then you have to deal with the Zeri in your face as well. I think it can look very different, the mid to late game, depending on who's ahead, you know? Like if Nongshim are ahead, you think about, okay, you've got double 80 carry, you've got Maokai ult, which is going to set up everything, right? It creates space for your 280 carries. It sets up your Blitzcrank. It sets up your Equalizer from your Rumble, right? So it sets up your entire comp. If you're ahead, you throw that in, and you get a lot of damage down, you get poke, you get pick, etc. DRX, on the other hand, you know, you get ahead, you can press any button you want, as long as you're all pressing it at the same time in the direction of Nongshim, and you avoid the Maokai, you're going to be feeling pretty good. Yeah, one thing I will say is this game is probably going to feel pretty feast or famine, because we've seen before where it's mostly, I mean, Yukal can as well, he has some good options to steal, but Galio kind of in a lot of situations is following up on engage. They don't have like that typical engage support like a Rel who's really good at leading the charge. So Sponge and Yukal fall behind. Might be hard to get onto the enemy backline later, but Hens is posturing aggressively. I think Teddy and Andal will be just fine. Yeah, thinking about it. Here comes Gideon, level 3. This will be spotted, and with the prio from bot, Sponge as Wukong Might just have to give it up, but he is posturing here for potentially going for the blast cone. They see him. That's the clone. And a nice try from Lens. As over the wall he does go, but Gideon did get the blue, so at the end of the day, Nongshim will feel happy about their play.
Yeah, slight advantage gained. But yeah, using the prio they have in mid and bot to ensure they can make that happen. I also want to talk about another thing, because obviously the big ult in this game just steals the Maokai ult. Goes without saying, really strong. But also Blitzcrank ult is so good.
AKA
Silas.
the bomb.
Yeah, but it's not just that, but it's also the fact that, like, when you have it stolen, you can get the extra, the auto damage.
Yeah.
And Silas autos, like, that's not that big of a thing for Blitzcrank unless you go on, like, on-hit Earth Blitzcrank. But for Silas, you know, Fisher definitely knows he is confident in this matchup. But yeah, I mean, if Yukal steals the Blitzcrank ult, he'll just be a monster to deal with, so good options. I think normally we say Silas is fine if you have one good option. I think you have two good options, two okay options. Equalizer's okay. I think a lot of the time Equalizer does less damage than you think. It's like Karthus ult, you kind of need the right items and runes and stuff to make it have the value, but it's still fine. And the Tristana ult, I think, is actually kind of, it's deceptively strong as well. Just on the fact that
Just going in.
Yeah, you're not doing any damage to him. Yeah, the Tristana ult, it's like deceptive because you have the AP ratio on it, and you have, it's like an extra bit of burst in the combo. So it can be pretty useful.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, he's probably just going to be stealing, you know, 2 ults, maybe 3, depending on who he's giving access to. So probably not going to see many. He's going to get the cannon, nice. Many Tristana ults, but maybe from time to time.
Maybe in the 1v1, you know?
Yeah.
You just grab it, you just pop it for that extra burst. 100% AP ratio. Not really a big thing early, but will at some point probably be a bigger thing. The dream scenario, I mean, remember, they've definitely changed the cooldowns. Remember when Silas could see like multiple ults in a fight because the cooldown got so low late game? That was just...
That was fun, yeah.
I mean, it can still happen here. It just kind of takes a long fight, and I don't think there will be long fights in this game.
Yeah, no, I don't think so. It'll most likely be decided very quickly. Unless like DRX go in and they can't really kill anyone, and there's like a lot of low health bars, and you've got like Zeri and Silas zooming all over the place. As speaking of which, Sponge is probably just dead here. He is going to go into his clone, and they're trying to give the kill over to Fisher, which they will do very successfully. Sponge has gotten himself into about 8 different bad situations so far, struggling to get away from Nongshim.
Yep, good flash, good W from Gideon to make sure they get the kill. Doesn't give a chance for Sponge to clone. I mean, there is a slight chance, but wasn't able to react in time to get away from that one.
He just always seems to be in the wrong place at the wrong time.
I think obviously you're waiting for the Blitzcrank hook to press W, but you kind of, as soon as you see the Maokai like flash, it's hard to respond in time, I'm going to be honest. If Maokai is playing properly, you're not really going to get an opportunity. So just good play from Nongshim. But yeah, caught out again. Gideon building up a little bit of a lead. We do see Fisher with a solid lead mid lane and got that kill. Every lane's kind of just ahead for Nongshim right now. And then we get these 3 grubs. This is what they need, you know. We talked a little bit about their team fighting, how I really like DRX's team fight potential, but Nongshim are getting what they want so far.
Yeah, and again, if Nongshim get far ahead enough, and you've got pit 80 carries, and you've got set up for Blitzcrank and Rumble, you're not feeling half bad. You're creating a lot of space. There are certainly angles for Nongshim if they can get ahead. As Gideon, he is going to try to steal away the red buff, while Sponge was kind of hanging around the dragon, taking the Scuttle Crab down. Rich's job here is just to not die, build tank, and catch waves. That's exactly what he's doing. The top lane, funnily enough, not going to be all too interesting this time around, as Gideon just laughs at Sponge.
Yep, slowly building up a lead. And it's one of those things, again, we've seen from Gideon where he will build up those leads when given the chance to. And you don't think of Maokai as a champion where you're like, oh, Fed Maokai, but playing against Fed Maokai is not fun.
No.
When he just doesn't die and spams W.
It's like Fed Sejuani that we saw.
Yep.
And it's like, okay, well, he's literally unkillable.
Yep.
And he just dives turrets and sets up plays, and you don't have any recourse. Everybody's down levels. He has more items than your mid laner. It's like, okay.
Yeah, you know, there is definitely champions who do better with gold than others, but gold is pretty good on every champion.
It's weird how that works.
Yeah,
in this
crazy.
game, League of Legends. Yeah.
We're learning things today.
Yeah. This bottom lane looks like Teddy has been keeping up very nicely.
Yeah, it actually gets
for him.
really scary when Teddy hits level 6 because the all-in pressure is huge. And Lahen's, you know, we we highlighted that in some scenarios, Lahen's is just a gap closer for DRX. So if Jiwoo oversteps and then Teddy, you know, dashes forward and ults, what is Lahen supposed to do other than run forwards and knock up Teddy? That might just lead to him dying. Jiwoo also has his ghost on cooldown. I'm not sure if he ghosted back to lane or something, but yeah, it's potentially vulnerable. If you step up too far and Teddy can just slide over the wall and run you down.
Yeah. For now, it's just a lot of wave clearing and just not really trying to fight each other. Jiwoo does have a level lead, funnily enough. Maybe given a little bit more alone time with the Lulu hanging around a bit.
Uh-oh.
And trying to set up something now. Gideon level 7 has his ult available. Has Sponge going to find him. Or was it Gideon that found Sponge? Already a lot of damage done to that Wukong. Here comes Lahen's just threatening a hook. And instead he says no.
He's like using the animations of like the, I forgot what they're called, like the taunts and stuff to try and look like he's throwing it, you know? It's like moving his arms, like I'm going, and then just like pulling it off.
Yeah, it's definitely a good technique on Blitzcrank.
The mind games.
Zoning away the enemy bot lane. You don't even have to press any buttons. You just posture.
It's also just, it does one of two things. I don't think DRX are ever going to do this, whether it baits them into flashing.
Free knockup? Bit of damage? Well, that didn't go the way you were thinking it was going to go, Lens. It has a free kill, and he doesn't even bother flashing. He's like, yep, I messed up.
Look, I don't want to say I told you so.
You literally said it like 15 seconds ago.
I did say it, you know? It's, one of those things. Oh.
Little angle here, no buffer for Fisher. He's going to get away from that. And
that was actually a really nice buffer from Fisher, because I think if he eats the full knockback, Sponge is in range just to immediately ult him. So good from Fisher to get out, but yeah, you know, in a pinch, the Buster Shot does work for some extra damage. But yeah, we were talking about that Zeri level 6, how the Blitzcrank isn't so fantastic at mitigating Zeri from doing Zeri things. And now we have a Zeri with the kill and a plate or two.
Yeah. It's not a Zeri moment, but it's definitely very scary. It's like
very scary.
Zeri. And he's like, oh, I'm gonna use my ult.
The trap slightly missed as well, but like Zeri ult is just so strong at level. I mean, generally, but at level 6, the amount of times I've seen. Oh, they're diving.
Yeah, nice equalizer on the wave, at least to try to survive. But they have just so many threats here. And this is what this composition does. They get the flash out of Rich and the flash out of Sponge as he flashed in for that play.
Oh.
Jiwoo?
They should have seen it mid, so no one should get hit by this.
I don't think it even kills. Oh. Yeah. Might have been able to stop it back or something.
Lance is like, he's in kill range now. It's go time. But yeah, I've seen...
Probably just hit the turret.
You know, we've seen a lot of Zeri Lulu in our time. I've seen so many times where like Zeri is struggling, like holding on for dear life in a lane.
Yeah.
Up to level 5, and then level 6 is hit. The enemy laner still is confident because of how lane's been going. Oh, they've been playing so defensive.
Lucian Nami, of course, yeah.
Yeah, and then they just go, oh, we're level 6 now. Dash in, ult, run them down. The all-in is so powerful. And this was a pretty easy dive set. I want to see, was it just Rich who got aggro first? Yeah, so Andal polymorph, but it didn't give aggro because it didn't deal damage. And Rich is just able to grab it very late, so it didn't even take many tower hits. Did flash out, would have died, I think, otherwise if Lahen's got his hands on him. But just a good, clean dive. And would you believe, Brendan, another kill for Zeri?
Yeah, I can believe it. And again, not one Zeri moment, but it's, you know, pieces, bits and clues that could lead to us to believe that she is the killer.
Yeah, just, oh, you know, I think I have a clue here, hint. That might be a problem. 2 kills and a Zeri.
Yeah.
Something's at foot. They need to get Wolf on the space in like a...
Yeah, we'll need to ask him a little.
An investigator outfit.
Yeah. Can we get some mystery music?
He's like, the signs are all pointing to Zeri.
There he is! Oh.
He's out investigating.
He turned into a pillow.
He's finding the clues.
That's
you know?
right. Yeah.
He's
they're not
searching.
very obvious. Like
Yeah, they're very
2-0. You know.
They're very subtle.
Yeah.
We need a keen eye.
No, Keen's not on this team actually. So Teddy goes in, presses ult again, but this time you know, he respects it.
Yeah, he did ghost away. Also, fortunately, he didn't have Lahens there to like gap close. I mean, to be fair, Lahens didn't do that last time, but
Yeah.
you know, bit of a shorter lane in the mid lane is a big difference maker. Harder to get that same value. Now looking for Rich in the bot lane. Not an easy dive, but Fish has a lot of damage.
Yeah, I mean, can they do damage to this Galio is really the question at the end of the day. With TP coming in, they're not going to test it too much, although Fisher,
Ow.
yeah, he wanted to test it.
He's like, how much damage does a tower do right now? This.
All right, they're staring at each other very menacingly as the ult comes in, and Yukal says goodnight.
Wait, they just can't kill him now. He can keep
no,
going.
Yeah, they can't kill him, and he has to flash away. Well, Hen so many times has said, okay, yes, I'm Blitzcrank, you have to respect me, and so many times the enemies have been like, what, who?
You know,
who are you?
I thought he was going to steal the Blitzcrank ult there, but he grabs the Buster Shot and just, yeah. Just,
Bomba?
Yeah, Bomba on Fisher. Uh-oh, Jiwoo.
Oh, there's a Wukong, and you don't have Ghost. I don't think it would have helped anyway. Yeah, easy dive, and a nice angle found here by Sponge.
Things are starting to go a little bit rough. Tower taken by DRX, they'll get the feats of strength. I don't think they needed them, but they'll take them. They'll certainly take them.
And it's another clue, Hawks.
Yes.
It's a third clue, actually. Generally, you only need 3.
Well,
so
we don't, you know, Wolf is...
If Wolf can't figure this one out, I mean,
he's still looking. He wants, you know, some people are satisfied with this level of evidence. He wants to find a bit more. Yeah, I mean, the Tristana was just so low. And 301 damage from that ult.
Like, we don't get the comms from Nomshim, obviously, but...
There was a clear point where Yukal realized his cooldowns are coming up, and he can just kill both of them.
I just wonder, like, what the call is there. It's like, okay, we can kill him. We have kill pressure. We got him. It's 3v1.
Lahens just said, watch me hit this hook.
Wait, he didn't even hook. He just, like, ran at him.
That's how you guarantee you hit it. You run up for them and E. And then, yeah. No.
Oh, Chemtech Soul.
Okay, well, honestly, it's really bad for Nongshim. Really, really bad for Nongshim.
Yeah.
There is like some champions on DRX who get like decent value. Like Lulu gets the healing and shield power. You know, the extra tankiness for like Yukal and Rich when low HP is really nice. By the way, this is before the buff to Chemtech.
Don't do it, Jiwoo. Don't do it.
Oh, flashed down.
He did it.
They just keep doing that. But yeah, so Chemtech has been buffed on live. This isn't, we're not on live, so it's not the buff Chemtech, which is slightly stronger. But Nongshim, their only saving grace this game, other than the grubs, was the fact that they had 2 dragons. So if they got like a good soul, they could be like, yeah, you know, winnable.
Yeah. You know, like game 2 where they had, you know, a couple of Drakes and they got the Hextech Soul, and even when they fell behind, it was like, oh, it's interesting if they get Hextech Soul, that could be big. And Yukal ulted his own wave, and he's kind of dying now, but the entire team is there. And now Kingen sees blood in the water, trades his flash for a dash.
Honestly, the worst thing I've seen Yukal do in the entire LCK Cup. I'm not sure what happened, but he got Kingen's flash.
Okay, well, we got another play in quotation marks here, as Sponge is going to go in, and he's looking to flash over the wall. And we're just burning flashes like they're pennies that are going out of style. I mean, it's like...
The what?
You know, pennies might be eventually eliminated because they're kind of just a waste. It actually costs more to make a penny than what a penny is worth.
But why are we burning the pennies?
Because it just feels like flashes are so worthless because we're just burning them for free, you know? It just feels like,
I guess.
I don't know, man. It's just you're casting, sometimes things come out of your mouth. You can't explain that.
I'm sorry for holding you accountable to the things you say, Brendan.
No, don't.
I thought it was like...
I would never. I only do that to Chronicler.
I thought this was like, you know, like when Abe Simpson's, like, you know, used to put an onion on your belt and used to have like quarters with bees on them. It was like one of these, now that you're a father, it's one of these old-timey sayings. I just have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Pennies going out of style. That was the
It's a
fashion.
thing.
That was the fashion at the time.
Yeah.
Of course.
Pennies, yes.
So
In many different ways. All right, well, Yukao's going to TP to the top lane. And then, he's, yeah. Okay, nice hook, actually. Predicting the fake out.
Yep.
As Andal, he should have just used the walk strategy.
Yep.
Walk on a straight line.
Good
Would've
move,
dodged
though.
that hook.
Do that more times, and it'll be looking good. I mean, the game's not, like, completely cooked yet. I know we favor DRX. Oh, no, it's not cooked completely yet, as I was saying.
There's always room to cook it further.
Yeah. Always room to burn those pennies.
Yeah. That's what they used to say back in my day, as Yukao in a really rough spot, actually. 2v1. A lot of damage does go in, and Yukao can't even flash out of that one.
And Fisher's getting pretty strong, you know? They have 2 dragons, they have the grubs. They're actually heading gold now. I know we had concerns about how the team fight's going to go. Oh, it's
wait.
the same move again.
Rich, you just saw this happen. These players have agreed to just not use flash this game.
Yeah, always use flash. Just flash like your pennies are going out of style.
Yeah, exactly. This is not even what I said.
What did you say?
I don't even know. It wasn't that. It wasn't that. So, you know, it was a lot of damage from the Tristana even before Gideon got here. And once Gideon got here, it was like...
I'm sorry.
It's like pennies on the clothesline at that point.
Pennies on the
It was
clothesline.
Stunzo from there, yeah.
I'm so confused.
Oh, nice hook, actually, as they go in on a Wukong and he just dies. Not quite able to have an impact, but Gideon taking a bunch of damage from Teddy. As you said it before, the scrappy fights. DRX will like those, but still, it's just a 1-for-1 trade. And it's Chemtech Soul. And Kingen is he is pushing the top lane by himself. Might just get that turret.
Trying to claim some pennies from that tower.
Yeah.
DRX will clear out the wave mid. Yukao's going to move in top. There's no wave of his own for him to equalizer, so he won't have to steal the ult right now. Yeah.
Yeah. You know what I think happened with this equalizer is, you know, you've probably played Rumble a couple of times, right?
I have, yeah.
Yeah. If you have like the starting point and you don't pull far enough away from it, and then you drag your mouse back without releasing.
Yeah, didn't everyone used to, it was always like you'd have to change the settings on it from like quick, you know, I've heard it, there's been instances where pros have been messed up because they'll play a Rumble game and they'll change the ult, the settings, and they'll forget in the next game, and then it won't be quick cast on their ult, and they'll be like, oh my god.
I wanted to...
At a critical moment.
Yeah.
Yeah. Happens.
I wanted to Lulu ult, and I had to click a second time. Oh no. Here comes another engage, featuring Blast Cone, Mega Cone. In goes Fisher, engaging himself. And the Maokai ultimate doesn't end up really doing much, but a couple of TPs come in. And they just kind of back away, fighting over this Chemtech Drake for now. But Nongshim are like, well, we didn't want that anyway.
Yeah, I mean,
Or do they?
Only Teddy's low. Gideon being low a little bit rough, but King gets a big ult.
Oh, that equalizer, very nice angle. Andil does not have flash, and Rich is taking a bunch of damage, but guess who does even more damage? It's the Zeri, and it's the Wukong. Again, just press your buttons all at the same time in one direction, and you're gonna feel pretty good as DRX. As now they turn their sights onto the Chemtech Drake, and Nongshim are running away. Some harpoons, but Kingen's just staring at him.
Question is, I don't think they feel strong enough to go for the Atacam right now. I think that was the right call. Seen far too many throws in that objective. Oh.
Bro.
You know what's the worst thing is he has Leandri's. So he ain't recalling for like 7 seconds.
Yeah, look at him, he's still running away.
Yeah, so this is what DRX's composition wanted to do. Teddy obviously forced away, and Andal left us to sacrifice. But this dive, sponge straight in, Yukao follows, flash ult, gets the stun on Jiwoo. Yeah, you just don't have the safety net for this backline. This is kind of the point where we're making in draft.
Yeah, you know what the safety net is? It's the Maokai and the Maokai ult for
Yeah,
Peel.
and it wasn't there.
And he had used it, and he was doing the Drake. He wasn't even with the team.
Really, the ideal scenario for Nongshim is both Nongshim and DRX stand still and just shoot at each other from a distance. That favors Nongshim. And Malkail is great for making that happen, but DRX don't seem to be happy with that scenario.
Well, Hens wants something, but again, there's not a lot of good targets. Could have definitely hooked Rich, but like, why? As now, they're going to start up the Otacon. No vision here for the side of DRX. And, you know, some pings for the blue team. They are beginning to...
fun.
Yeah, it's a bit too slow from DRX. 3,000, 2,000, 1,000. There's the smite. And now the Hens is going to hook air. But they have the Maokai ult engaged. They don't quite have the peel, though, as now stolen equalizer. They're trying to turn onto Yucal, but they're not quite able to. Wukong goes down. Tons of damage being dealt right now by Nongshim, and they've got this Jinx in the backline just shelling out the damage. And DRX, they bite off more than they can chew in this one, as they wanted to punish, but instead, they're the ones that got punished.
And they got so much gold from that. Got the shutdown from the Zeri as well. Massive influx. Jiu is starting to feel a lot more fed now, and DRX completely fumble. Not only do they give too much space around that Otacon, almost like they forgot it was up, but here in this fight, you know, Yucal ends up taking the Rumble ult, doesn't have a ton of value, but they just don't get on the backline. It is the main thing. Fisher jumps in on Yucal, Jiu is just free hitting constantly. The Wukong goes down without really achieving anything, doesn't get to ult, and then this clustered mass where Jiu and Fisher just free hitting. Not the ideal situation there, definitely, for DRX. Seeing how things can go awry.
I was watching Lens in that fight, by the way. Didn't bother hooking again. He just ran in and got one knock up and then died.
Classic.
Yeah. The Maokai came out, and the targets were Wukong clone or Galio. And he's like, I think I'm just not going to cast it here.
Yeah, it's fair.
Probably a good call. But yeah, Nongshim kind of just run away with the game after that play. We used to see this, you know, at times in the past when Otacon didn't exist, when it was like a Baron. You know, a team would rush down Baron and they take a big fight right after, and you'd be like, oh, well, that might just be the game. In this case, you know, if you're going to hook a Galio 4v1, that's fine, but not able to hit the hook there. Sponge and Ondil just going for a little walk. Not going to be met with kindness.
Yep. And the problem is, they're now just getting sieged down. Oh, ult comes in.
Okay, gonna be pushed away from the hook, and now Kingin, he's going on in. He doesn't care if he dies. They've done the damage. They take out the Lulu, and they still have the Otacon buff. Here comes Fisher, and he's just tanking up the turret because why not? He's gonna get the one kill, gets a second as well, the fade away. And Yucal's like, by the way, I'm Silas. I can steal the Maokai ultimate. Isn't this great? Doesn't do anything. And maybe Nongshim just win right now.
This is just the end of the game. You know, Fisher's TP to come back, and a couple of fumbles, some good team fighting from Nongshim, and DRX get run into the dirt. It'll be 2-1 to Nongshim on the back of this. And a game that felt more decisive than game 2 for sure, but just felt like once they lost control, a little bit messy for DRX. They just kind of fumbled. They lost the Otacon and it just went out the window.
Yeah. It's one of those games that just ends in the span of like 1 minute, and you're like, oh, well, that was crazy.
Yeah, game 1 was a stomp, game 2 was the mess, game 3 was, I guess we just win now. And Gio, credit to Gio having a better game, you know.
For sure.
I was concerned about this one, him being targeted heavily. He had a really rough game 2, looked better here. So hopefully signs he can bounce back on this one, because yeah, not out of the woods yet. 2-1 up, and again, as we get deeper in this, as more champions are taken away, it's going to get more and more difficult. But you know, I really liked DRX's draft, as I said there, but just unable to execute when it came down to it. Unable to find the angles.
Yeah.
Yucal really did not have a good time against Fisher in the mid lane matchup, and never really showed up. And I think, he had the ult in the bot lane, he had that fight that went well, but other than that, it just feels like he's been subdued, and Fisher's been doing a fantastic job of keeping down DRX's best performing player so far in the LCK Cup.
Yeah, if they can flip that player matchup, Nongshim are in a fantastic spot, and that is saying it lightly, as we got a 2-1 lead now for the side of Nongshim. Can they close it out in our first game 4 of the LCK Cup? You'll find out after this break.
해볼게. 아니, 옹 봐줘. 타워부터 할게, 난. 옹 봐줘. 나 가는 오케이. 자, 바로. 보자. 끝난 거 같은데? 마무리 안 되어서 정태야? 야, 끝내자, 게임 끝내자. 야, 끝내. 야, 봐줘. 테리스. 맞을게. 자, 끝내자. 단판하자. 끝났다.
얘들아 진정을 해, 알았지? 내 말을 잘 들어주면.
아, 이거 시우 형 말 들으면 이겨. 시우 형 말 들으면 이기다.
아니 왜 얘들아
깨달았다.
다 이겼는데 왜 자꾸 급하게 해.
천천히 하자.
그냥 우리가 잘한다니까 얘들아 급하게.
맞아. 천천히 해서.
얘들아 진정하고. 오케이. 잘했다.